All right. Hello, everyone. We are back with our next episode of our podcast on WUFO. They always go by so quickly.
I know. I feel like we're not getting enough. I mean, we're trying to get it out there, right?
Right. But there's lots of information, lots to talk about, and we're going to pick up where we left off with our last episode and talking about seasonal scams and summer scams. Mm-hmm. We went over travel scams, how to make sure you're booking trips safely, especially if you're trying to fit one in before the end of summer. And we talked about job scams, which might be targeting, young adults who are looking for summer work while they're off of school. But, before we wrapped up, we started to talk about event scams. And I just want to make sure that we get those tips out there to make sure that people can protect themselves, when they're buying tickets to big concerts or shows or anything like that. This is event season. There's tons of great events in Buffalo. But the summer window is so short. So it seems like it all mostly happens in a span of a couple of months.
I know, and you're trying to get them in. You're looking for stuff to go to. It's nice to be outside, listen to music or whatever it may be. And so, you want to be out there. So you're ready to shop, right? Right.
And I know it's concert season and there's lots of concerts, especially since we have some outdoor venues here in the area. So people are buying tickets to see their favorite artists, but gone are the days of people waiting in line at the box office. Right. Everybody's purchasing tickets online. Yes. And I know if it's a, popular show that people really want to get their hands on certain tickets, certain seats. But this is where scammers come in and they take advantage of people because it's unfortunately way too easy for them to create an advertisement for tickets that looks legitimate.
Right.
So not only do you need to look out for fake ads, impersonating some of these major ticket companies, but be careful with people who are selling things on social media. Mm-hmm. I heard of an instance recently, well, it wasn't a concert, but it was an event, a Sabres game actually, where a young woman purchased tickets, or she thought she was purchasing tickets, and the person selling them had a tragic story. They said their mother had just passed away and they were no longer able to use them, and they ended up sending her screenshots of tickets, which will not get you into the venue.
Dude.
So
on to that now.
Do not buy tickets from strangers online. So many people will try to sell them and rip you off, and they'll even go so far as to take photos from people who actually live locally to make it seem like they're legitimate. But take a few seconds to look at that profile. How long has it existed? In many cases, it'll have been created 2 weeks ago.
Right, and that's what you want to obviously, and I know you mentioned, but there's a lot of fraudulent claims, and it's the one that's going to get you hurt. Well, I've got a death in the family.
Right.
So it's all of a sudden, and they're trying to get you that way. And
I just really want these tickets to go to use. I want to get rid of them. Mm-hmm. And,
there's an emergency requiring you to buy quickly. Okay. Selling these tickets immediately. They create this urgency for you to, because of, I want to sell these. And what is it? These fake ticket sales are obviously because they're high demand games. Right. And people want them, and which we saw during the Sabres season, now with the Bills and the new, obviously the new arena that they're going to be playing in. It's gorgeous.
Right.
And it's expensive.
Everybody wants to get a peek at that new stadium.
Right. And so, and as we all know, they're going to be expensive. So think about that.
I'm already hearing comments online about the price and how people want to buy tickets, but they're expensive. Well, I mean, it's so easy for somebody to come in with a scam and offer tickets that are still pricey, but a little bit lower than what you would normally pay. And that's how they rip people off. Yeah, people think they're getting a deal, and they want to jump on it, and they'll say things like, "I've got 4 other people waiting, but to secure these tickets, send me a deposit right now." And you're like, "Okay, I just want to get these," and that's how people end up getting scammed.
Yeah, and scammers where do they go to sell them? Facebook, any social media site, they're going to do that.
I see so many of them on social media,
and then they disappear. But take a look at when was the profile page created? Was it recently? This all of a sudden pops up, this recent, person selling Bills tickets. Was it recent? They're probably from all over the United States, and they're coming because the Bills are in the playoffs or the Sabres are in the playoffs, and it could be someone in Canada trying to sell tickets,
Right.
and so you have to be careful. Look for the when was this person's Facebook page created? I would look for that. Of course, sellers active in ticket groups for many NFL teams, so they're.
I have seen that, yes, where you click on the person's profile and you look at what groups they belong to. There was one woman, a scammer posing as somebody selling tickets, and you clicked on that profile and they were part of every NFL team's ticket exchange group.
Yes.
Well, that right there tells you that you're dealing with a scammer, but you have to take the time to look for those things.
Yes, absolutely. And then they're saying, I only take Zelle, and right there's one of those apps, this third party or this, peer-to-peer. You have to be careful of, because it's gone. Your money is gone.
Right. And the tickets actually have to be transferred to your, your ticket wallet or your account. Screenshots, they will not work.
Right.
You cannot get into a concert venue or a stadium or any major event with ticket screenshots anymore. They've caught on to that. So that's something that you need to look out for, because a lot of scammers will have screenshots of legitimate tickets. So you think, oh, okay, these are real, but you get all the way there and then get turned away, which is obviously a bummer. Nobody wants to deal with that. So
and there's excitement for this new stadium, right? I mean, everyone's excited. Everybody wants to get in, and they want to be a part of it. And so. But what does that say to me? Because I'm an investigator with the BBB, I feel like now this is going to, I'm seeing scams. Ding, 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 ding. This is going to be an opportunity for scammers to take advantage of Bills fans, right?
Absolutely.
Because they want to get to that game.
Absolutely.
So please be careful.
And not just games, but I'm seeing a lot of commemorative items from the previous stadium. I always want to call it the Ralph because that's what I remember it as. But Highmark Stadium, I believe. Obviously they've been selling seats, pieces of turf from the fields.
Yes.
You want to make sure if you're buying those things that they are legitimate.
Yes. And that could be hard to do, right? Scammers are taking advantage of everything. You're a big Bills fan. You want everything Bills.
Right.
Right?
Well, I remember there was a scam, I can't verify that it was a scam, but when they broke ground on the new stadium, people were selling dirt.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Online. Now, somebody asked me, it was a local news reporter, how do you verify that the dirt is from the stadium? You can't. Anybody could go in their backyard and dig up some dirt and say it was from the stadium groundbreaking.
I know.
But really, you're rolling the dice on that one.
No, you are. And that's what I'm saying. They're playing with your emotions, you're trying to get something for that man cave, that Buffalo Bills man cave.
Right.
What can I put down here? And
Yeah, I was shopping at the grocery store the other day, and I actually saw pieces of stadium turf. Yeah,
really? That's great.
Yeah. So people are buying it. I know I talked about it. I would love to have a seat from the stadium in my little basement area. But you have to watch out, because it's so easy for somebody to take a picture from somebody else, pass it off as their own, and then you never end up receiving the item. So, always ask for a certificate of authenticity too. I know many commemorative items do have that, just to verify that it is legitimate.
And going along with that, and I know, this is something very big now, and every time, and it has to do obviously with events and stuff, but even when you're going to a restaurant or anything else, parking are these QR codes. And this is becoming the new thing. And it's easy to create and get a QR code. But, when you're parking or whatever it may be, please be careful. Have you had any problems with QR codes or?
I have not, but this is very common. And someone actually mentioned it recently that they were somewhere and somebody had put a sign up with a QR code, like scan here and pay to park. It was not going to any sort of, legitimate
and there's
company.
A lot with parking that I see with parking.
But like you said, it's so easy to create that QR code. Anybody can do it.
And they're sticking it over the other codes, like the legitimate code, and people are putting it over the the right code, and you're getting this false one on top of the valid one.
Right.
And and then with parking at a Bills game or a Sabres game or an event, a summer concert, and all you want to do is get that parking spot. And so just do this QR code, and this is the way to go.
Right.
We are in this modern society.
Yeah. I mean, that's how I've paid for parking. Fortunately, I haven't had any issues. But you see the signs everywhere
right
now, and you're not engaging with a person anymore. You're not paying somebody.
Right.
You're not giving them cash. They always want you to scan this code or pay online or pay through this app. So you have to be careful. When you scan it, see, where is it taking you?
Right. And don't put any unnecessary information in it. Your personal information shouldn't be going into this QR code. And they want you to click on the link, and who knows where that link is taking you, like I said, and wow. But I did want to mention that, because I know with parking and stuff like that, a lot of times the QR code comes up.
Sure. That and any memorabilia, but jerseys, things like that, fan gear. It's an easy thing for people easy thing for scammers to take advantage of. Would be fans trying to get their hands on a rare jersey or collectible item. So if you're shopping for anything like that, make sure that you are on a legitimate website. I think I've told this story before, but I've been scammed on a Bills jersey before. It was a long time ago, but I was young and didn't have a lot of money at the time, but really wanted to get my hands on this Color Rush jersey. I don't know if you remember when they were wearing the red jerseys.
Okay, yes.
And I really wanted it. Well, I paid, I want to say it was close to $100. So still pretty expensive.
Sure.
What I got in the mail, and I did receive a jersey, but it was like this big. There's no way it would fit a person.
It's not even fitting on the
no,
Facebook Live screen.
I know. And I had paid with a debit card, and there was no solution for me.
Right.
There was no getting my money back.
Yes.
So unfortunately, I just lost it. Yeah. But that's my cautionary tale to anybody who is shopping online for jerseys. And then the stitching was off. I've heard of people getting jerseys in the mail where the stitching is like sideways or it's spelled incorrectly.
Wow.
So
in the wrong, jersey number.
Right.
You think you're getting the right jersey and it's the wrong number.
So, as we're in event season, getting ready for football season, hard to believe. I think training camp starts in a couple of weeks. Please. I know.
You got to keep this summer here.
I know. Just be careful when you're buying tickets. And again, pay with a credit card. Because if you do get scammed, that's going to be your best shot at getting your money back.
Yes.
So, I wanted to talk a little bit about what we're seeing in Scam Tracker lately. So you monitor our Scam Tracker. Lori is great about this. She's in there every single day to see what people are reporting. But one thing that seems to be popping up this season, I guess, would be these garage door companies or scams. Can you share some information on that and what people are seeing?
And it's that time of year, garage door, people trying to get things fixed, and they know
landscaping too.
It's the peak season for those things, for paving, roofing, and of course the garage door. Wow. And it's starting off as is, just that little spring that you need to be fixed. Your garage door might not be going, but it's an easy fix. It should be an easy fix. And so you call, and sometimes you get these people, and they're going to come out, and then there's more problems. They're finding more problems. Well, this is dangerous. They're scaring you. I think you need a new door. So they're adding on to where it should just be the spring being replaced. So, and these people don't know how to even fix the door. So you're paying up front. They're going to go out and get more materials, and what's happening is you've paid, and it's not going to work. Your door is still going to be, they've screwed up your door, all right, and they've added on to what your bill is, and it's a fake invoice, all right? You have to make sure you're getting a contract, make them show you what's wrong, right? Take pictures, and, you have to look out for yourself. But that's what we're seeing. There's a lot of garage door, and I know I've seen a lot in Rochester area, but now I'm seeing it again, even in our area. So it is all throughout Western New York. I'm
yeah.
seeing it. So please be careful.
And I've seen, or I've heard of instances where, you might do a search for, like a garage door repair company.
Mm-hmm.
And the first thing that pops up, because of paid advertising is not necessarily a legitimate company.
Yeah.
So you really want to make sure you're taking the time to do your homework, whether you're hiring somebody to, fix the garage door, do some landscaping. I know, summer season, people, might be looking at pool maintenance, which I know can be very costly. We just have an above ground pool at home, but I mean, that's still, it still costs money to maintain that thing.
Yeah.
So you just want to make sure that you're dealing with legitimate companies.
Well, yeah, it's a simple issue that you have, like the spring, and then they make it into, they're claiming other things are happening. They're going to refuse to show you what's wrong. Right there is sending me a red flag right there. They say the door is unsafe. Have them explain why. Why is it unsafe? You need a contract. Write things down. They're pushing for expensive parts. These are things that you need to obviously know about, what's happening in your home. This is your home too. So, you want to know if you're getting the best service. Are you getting ripped off? So please be careful. The bait and switch. You see the ad, $39 service fee. We'll come out for $39. Then, of course, they come in, it's going to hit you with this huge bill, and it ends up being up to $1,000 or $500. I mean, and it just takes you to a whole nother level, and you're getting ripped off.
How much money would you say that you see people lose to these types of scams?
It's like $2,000. I'm seeing people losing a lot because they're saying you need the whole door replaced, and they're scaring people. And, they want to target maybe an older group of people.
Well, people don't want to be injured because of, God forbid, a spring snapped off. Yeah.
Find, and it could be a fake local company, but find the legitimate ones, and that's
where we come in.
That's where we come. Contact us. We have it. Look them up. Are you seeing the same scam that you're experiencing? Is it the same person? Is it the same, business that you're, someone else has experienced? We want to help you. It's there for us. We have alerts that go up for businesses that are obviously scamming people. So, and I'm always writing back, we have this alert up for this business.
Right.
And I feel bad that I have to write that, but this is what we've posted. And, use us as a resource. We're a great resource.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if you're not savvy with, your computer, give us a call.
Yes, 800-828-5000. Call us.
Any which
We're happy
way.
to help you.
Any which way.
I hear people on the phone each day, helping consumers, who have, sometimes very simple questions, but they don't use a computer, and that's fine. We're happy to help. But in regards to like home improvement scams this summer, one thing that I consistently hear about, and you can verify this, is driveway paving scams.
It never ends.
And they'll take advantage of people by coming to the house and saying, "Oh, I've noticed you've got some cracks in the driveway and I have some leftover mix from a previous job and I can take care of that for you really quickly."
When they're coming to you door to door, right there's a red flag.
Yes.
And that's how every single one of them I'm getting is, that's the approach.
And it's tricky because I think, law enforcement has a hard time tracking these people down because they'll move from city to city.
Absolutely. And what I'm finding out, there's a lot that are coming from Connecticut and Massachusetts and New Jersey. So they're coming into New York State. So they're not even from here, a lot of them. You can't find the business online. And I'm asking people, what was the name of the business? Well, they don't get the name, and the truck doesn't have, why doesn't the truck have
But they seemed promising, and they seemed honest.
My truck's down the street. Well, you should be able to see, you want to be able to see the business logo on the van or the truck, it may be. And so there's a lot of things, and I know you're trying to act quick because they're saying, "Oh, I got this leftover, and we were just down the street, your neighbor down the street." And so now you think they're legitimate.
Okay, they're in the neighborhood.
Yeah, so-and-so down the street. Yes. So
right, and these people are, unfortunately, ripping people off is their full-time job. So they're good at what they do. They know how to convince people. They seem very friendly,
and they're saying, "Look, just pay us in cash." And right there, no, don't pay in cash.
Always get a contract too for any type of work you're having done, and know what's in it before you sign it.
Right.
And that contract is going to be really important if you do have a problem, because there's your proof that this is what you agreed to and that this may not have been met. But these people, they do go door to door and take advantage of people by getting them to pay on the spot. But any legitimate company will give you time to think about it.
Yes.
Like you can say, all right, send me your information and I'll take some time to look into.
Can I get a card? Can I get your business card?
Right. And then you'll see that, they're backing off pretty quickly.
Yeah. And a lot of them that I'm seeing, the name on the truck, if you can see the truck, is different than the business that they're claiming to be. So there's little things like that, and you wouldn't even notice. They don't have a local address.
Right.
What are you doing here from New Jersey? Like, why are you here?
Right. No, I mean, I've heard of this happening to people I know, I think, twice in the past couple of months in our area. And in one instance, so they did do the job, but they put Band-Aids over it. Like it wasn't It wasn't a good job. It wasn't thorough. They just basically slapped a Band-Aid over the cracks to make it look like they'd done the work, but they really hadn't. Right. So be careful for that. Like you said, Lori, any unsolicited offer, somebody who comes to the door and says, you need this done, or especially if somebody is elderly, oh, I was looking at your roof. That person's, they're not going to get up on their roof.
Right.
And they know that. And that's how they're targeting people and taking advantage of people. But, that's why, again, BBB is so important. We want people to check with us before they hire somebody.
Yes, please do. And it's simple. Just give me your card. Why wouldn't the business have a card or any, literature, with them? They should have those things. Take a picture of the van. Okay, or take a picture of the truck. I've had people do that, which is very helpful because they're given a different name when they're face to face, but then on the truck, it's a whole different phone number, and it's out of state. Right. So that's, these are things that I'm seeing every day.
And, am I correct in saying that it is hard to catch these people?
It's very hard.
Yeah.
It's very hard. They're switching names. And it's hard to, you're getting one name and there's another name.
Then they go to a town over and they're operating under a new name.
Right. Yeah. It can be very difficult, especially if they're, not in state or they're not a local person.
Right. And again, people have been out thousands of dollars over things like this.
I know.
So, knowing that this fraud continues to happen and that it's very hard to catch these people, we have to do what we can to make sure that we're staying educated and protecting ourselves and knowing what signs to look for.
Right.
Is there anything else you're seeing in Scam Tracker lately that, you think we should mention?
There's always, the pet scams that are,
sure.
With the typical pet scams, the loans, the phone calls to, you got a $50,000 loan coming your way. And so those are the same stuff that keeps coming up. That's basically, every day it's something different. But
for a while, I was receiving some of those voicemails like, you've been approved or pre-approved for a loan this size. And then, finally it all stopped. Or I stopped getting as many, but I'd imagine, unfortunately, there are people who have fallen for it because they're offering you this great loan at a low interest rate. And again, too good to be true.
There's so much out there. Every day it's something different that comes through, but, and then there's the usuals, the usual stuff. Right. But, again, it's a lot of the online shopping. Please be careful with online shopping.
Yeah, online shopping is the easily the number one scam that's reported to our BBB.
It is,
and
still continues.
There's not often a very high dollar amount attached to it, but it's usually, I would say a lot of them that I see are less than $100. But again, we see them daily, whether you don't receive the item at all or you get a counterfeit product. So, people need to be careful as they're doing their online shopping. And especially as we're heading into back to school season. I don't want to say it, but
you're saying a naughty word right now.
I know. Well, I've been doing some shopping and I'm seeing back to school stuff out already.
I know. I've
at the
seen
stores.
backpacks and windows. I'm like, wow.
I'm like, oh, can't we just enjoy summer? And before you know it, there will be holiday decorations, Christmas decorations, Halloween.
Wow.
Anyway, I know I'm.
You are jumping the gun.
I know
You're scaring me.
I'm being too negative.
Yes. No.
No. I very much enjoy summer. I love this time of year, so I don't want to rush it away.
No.
But I am seeing advertisements already for back to school stuff.
Yes.
And people need to be careful if they're doing their shopping. Whether it's for clothes, we talk about, the online purchase scams or supplies.
The big brands, the everyone wants the brands, and so please be careful with that. The large percentage to 70% off, and make sure that website, the URL at the top is legitimate. And I know we've discussed this a lot. Does this website have an address? Where is it located? So please, those are, my tips that I want you to obviously look for as a consumer is where's this business located. Right.
And make sure, the advertisements that you see on social media, I know we always say it, but scammers are so good at impersonating major companies and passing them off as their own. I use Amazon as the example, but, Amazon has had different variations of their logo over the years. Yeah. And sometimes the ad that you see has an old logo on it, or it's a different color than it normally is, or it looks, kind of blurry. Sure. Those are little things to look out for, when you're browsing different ads online. Yeah. And then, I've seen advertisements for websites with people in them, but the people are very clearly AI generated, because they might have like 7 fingers or something like that, but you have to look closely in order to see those things.
No, you do. I mean, and that's, every day the online shopping and everyone likes to do it, so.
Yeah. And that, and, as we're talking about back to school season, particularly for the older kids or somebody who might be heading off to college, they're probably buying books and laptops and more expensive pieces of technology. I think a lot of people, if they're purchasing folders and pencils and things like that, can go to the store and pick them up. But when you're shopping for some of those big ticket items online, you really have to be careful, because that's what scammers use to trick people.
And my sister, my nephew, he's going out of state, and, she was like, we could buy all this stuff online. But I think what they're going to do is they're going to go, during, when they go for their orientation, she's like, we're going to go and we're going to buy it there instead of getting it shipped to us or shipped there. You don't know if it's going to get there. But she's like, we'll just go and get it there and put it in, a safe place there.
Well, yeah, there's something to be said about that. It's just going in person and doing your shopping in person.
So I thought that was pretty smart. Like, she's like, we're going to go there and get everything.
So many of us, do the online shopping these days. And I mean, look, Amazon has 1-day delivery for some things. It's so convenient.
It is.
You don't have to leave the house. It'll be on your doorstep in a day or two. Right. But, and sometimes I have to remind myself, like, you can just go to the store and pick this up.
Yeah.
Versus having it shipped there and having the empty boxes lying around. But I'm guilty of it. I do a lot of online shopping.
It is. It's great. And I'd say, use Amazon. Make sure it's the right Amazon. But, these other invalid, these scamming sites are just awful. You'll click on the contact page and it just says it gives their email and they'll fill out this out, but they're not saying the phone number for the business. They're not saying the address, and that worries me. And then I'm okay, then it's on the Facebook page. There's a link to their Facebook or their Instagram. So you click on the Facebook page and it doesn't go anywhere.
Sure.
The links don't even work. So you have to fool around with the website.
Right.
Check it out.
Right. And like you said, look at the address and the contact information. When I look at these fake websites, you'll see that the email address or the support email looks a little suspicious. There might not be one at all. Or you go to send the email to customer support and it bounces right back to you, and you're like, okay, well, this is a red flag here.
Yeah, Google the phone number. Like, if there is a phone number, Google it. Does it go to this site, to this business? Or sometimes it's not. It says it's a robocall. Like, it's it's a fake number.
Right.
It's not going to work.
Right. And we see them all the time
All the time.
And especially like, you know, we're thinking back to school. Okay, people want new sneakers, a nice new pair of shoes. I know that was always one thing I was always excited to buy when I was getting ready to go back to school is a nice pair of shoes.
Absolutely.
You know, starting the year fresh.
Yeah.
But we see a lot of scam ads for sneakers. So, you know, you have to be careful with that too. You know, the Nike brand is impersonated a lot.
Sure. Yes. Oh, of course. And then, you know, and I know this is a big topic and this is maybe for another day, but like going along with all this fake, but you know, the big hot topic is AI. But what's happening is, you know, AI is generating these convincing false texts.
Right.
And I think we need to spend some time maybe, you know, talking to the public about, you know, images and audios. And
I just got the signal that we're out of time here. It always goes so quickly.
The gong show. We're getting gonged.
We can definitely talk about, you know, AI in our next episode. We've got lots of good stuff. We just released a study on it. So check out our social media, you know, at BBB Upstate New York. Use Scam Tracker. Look up businesses on bbb.org, and we will see you next time.
Come to me.
All right. Thank you.
Bye.